There is a photograph on the internet right now that was not supposed to exist. A composer working on Avengers Doomsday posted something to his Instagram. Nothing dramatic, just a casual behind-the-scenes image from a recording session. Except in the background, visible on a screen that nobody was supposed to notice, were two words that just confirmed one of the biggest unresolved questions surrounding this film. Armor Room. Doomsday. For anyone who does not immediately recognize that word, Doomsday is the capital city of Latveria. It is where Dr. Doom's castle sits. It is where his entire operation is centered. It is the most fortified location in the Marvel Comics universe, and it has never appeared in a live-action Marvel film until now. That single accidental Instagram post just confirmed what multiple insiders have been reporting for months. The final battle of Avengers Doomsday takes place in Latveria. And once you understand what that means for the shape of this entire film, everything else that has been leaking starts to lock into place in a way that should genuinely excite anyone who has been paying attention. Let us start with what the promotional art is actually telling us, because most of the conversation around it has been focused on the wrong thing. The merch leak that has been circulating shows the official promotional art for Avengers Doomsday, and it is doing something very specific and very deliberate. 3 teams are arranged around Dr. Doom at the center. The Fantastic Four on one side, the X-Men on the other, and at the bottom, a 4-person grouping that represents the new Avengers team. Not 20 characters sharing equal billing. 4. Thor, Yelena Belova, Sam Wilson as Captain America, and Shuri as Black Panther. That is a creative decision with significant narrative implications. When Marvel puts 4 characters in the anchor position of official promotional art, they are not making an aesthetic choice. They are telling the audience exactly who this story belongs to at its core. Thor is the original Avenger carrying the weight of everything the first generation built. Sam Wilson is the leader of a new Avengers team that has not yet had its defining moment. Yelena Belova is stepping up from the Thunderbolts into something larger than anything she has been asked to carry before. And Shuri is representing Wakanda in a moment that will define what Wakanda means to the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. These 4 characters are going to be the emotional spine of the Avengers side of this story. Everything else, every cameo, every legacy return, every universe collision is going to orbit around what happens to these 4 people. On the Fantastic Four side, the promotional art narrows its focus to Reed Richards and Ben Grimm. The Thing has already appeared in the Doomsday trailers, so his presence is locked. But Reed's position as a focus character is the more interesting one given what we know about Doom's plan and what the leaked Secret Wars concept art showed us about Sue Storm's role in what comes after. Reed Richards is going to be in this film watching the man who wears his face take everything he has built. That is not a supporting character arc. That is a devastation arc. For the X-Men, Cyclops gets the anchor position, and nobody should be surprised by that after Kevin Feige specifically called out the way the Russo brothers filmed his powers as a sight to behold. Cyclops is finally getting the cinematic treatment the character has deserved for 30 years of live-action existence. Beast is also featured, confirmed through his appearance in the Marvel's post-credit scene. And then there is Gambit. Channing Tatum's Gambit, which is a sentence that still feels slightly surreal to type. According to the CinemaCon trailer description that has been circulating, Gambit fights Shuri in what sounds like one of the more visually inventive matchups in the entire film. Now here is where the plot structure starts to reveal itself, and why the Latveria confirmation makes the whole thing snap into focus. The first half of Avengers Doomsday does something that most blockbusters at this scale would never attempt. It presents Dr. Doom as a hero. Not a morally ambiguous figure who might be a hero, an actual seemingly genuine hero who shows up at the Fantastic Four's door with a warning and a request for help. The multiverse is collapsing. He needs them. They go together to find Steve Rogers. They find Thor. They find the Thunderbolts and the new Avengers team. And for a significant portion of this film's running time, Doom is standing alongside the people the audience has been conditioned to root for. Then he starts working. He points the assembled heroes toward the X-Men universe. He tells them what the X-Men have been doing, destroying other universes to survive their own incursion crises, and frames it as the threat that needs to be addressed. The heroes go after the X-Men. Everyone fights everyone. And while that chaos is unfolding exactly as Doom planned, the audience is watching a man who has orchestrated a confrontation between every major superpower in the multiverse so that they are all looking at each other instead of at him. By the time everyone figures out that Doom is the actual threat, he has already moved several steps ahead of where the heroes thought he was. This is the villain the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been missing since Thanos placed the completed gauntlet on his fist in Wakanda. not a powerful antagonist who needs to be stopped. A prepared one, an architect who has been studying the multiverse's collapse long enough to know that prevention is impossible and construction is the only viable response. Dr. Doom cannot save the multiverse. He decided some time ago that he was not going to try. What he is going to do instead is control how it ends and build what replaces it exactly as he wants it to be. Which brings everything back to Latveria. The final battle of Avengers Doomsday taking place in Doomstat is not just a location choice. It is a thematic statement. The heroes are not going to Latveria to stop Doom from doing something. They are going to Latveria because Doom has already done most of what he intended to do, and the only question left is whether anyone can pull him back from the final step. They are fighting on his ground, inside his castle, surrounded by his architecture. The home advantage in that confrontation belongs entirely to the villain, and the reports about what happens in that final battle are extraordinary. Thor comes at Doom with Stormbreaker, full force, launching through the air with everything the God of Thunder has. And Doom catches it with one hand. That single image, that single moment from the CinemaCon trailer communicates everything about the power differential in this confrontation more effectively than any exposition could. Then the reports get wilder. Doom reportedly takes Thor's arm. After the eye in previous films, losing an arm in the Latveria battle would leave Thor entering Secret Wars as a fundamentally changed figure, a version of the character who has genuinely paid a price that cannot be undone. Odin responds to Thor's prayer by sending an army from Valhalla. Magneto engages Doom directly in what sounds like a collision of two of the most powerful figures in this entire assembled cast. A villain Hulk variant loyal to Doom goes up against the Thing in a battle that the reporting suggests is one of the most visually spectacular sequences in the film. And Doom himself commands an army that includes Doctor Strange, Klee, witches from across the multiverse, Doombots, and variants pulled from realities that no longer exist, because Doom has already begun his reconstruction. This is not a final battle. This is a siege. The heroes are not storming Doom's castle to defeat him. They are storming his castle, knowing that even if they win the fight, the multiverse collapse he has been engineering is already in motion. Winning in Latveria does not restore what has been lost. It just determines who is standing when Doom makes his final move. Now take a step back from the battle reports and look at what this film is actually attempting to do at the franchise level, because that is the conversation that the focus on individual character moments and battle sequences tends to crowd out. Avengers Doomsday is not just a sequel to the multiverse saga. It is a convergence of literally everything Marvel has produced across every studio and every era. The argument being made around this film is that the buildup is not the last 4 years of the multiverse saga. The buildup is 30 years of Marvel content across Fox, Sony, and Marvel Studios. The Fox era X-Men, the original Fantastic Four films, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy, Blade, The Punisher. All of it is the runway for Avengers Doomsday, because all of it is being treated as part of the same multiverse that Doom is now reshaping. When you look at the promotional art through that lens, the three teams arranged around Doom stop being a cast list and start being a thesis statement. The X-Men, who were never supposed to share a universe with the Avengers. The Fantastic Four, who spent 2 decades in franchise limbo. The new Avengers, who represent a generation of heroes who never got their own endgame moment. All of them standing in the same frame because Doom's actions have made it not just possible, but inevitable. Dr. Doom's absence from the Fantastic Four First Steps film was always going to matter. The empty seat at Latveria. The sign deliberately shown on screen. Marvel was not being subtle about the fact that Doom was somewhere else while Galactus threatened his world. The theory that makes the most sense across everything we know is that Doom has been in the multiverse for years before Doomsday begins, watching incursions, learning the patterns, calculating what a controlled collapse looks like versus an uncontrolled one. By the time he shows up at the Fantastic Four's door asking for help, he is not reacting to a crisis. He is executing a plan that has been in development since before most of the heroes in this film knew the multiverse was in danger. That preparation is what makes him the most complete villain Marvel has ever put on screen. Thanos had conviction and power. Doom has conviction, power, and time. He has spent longer thinking about this problem than the heroes have spent existing as heroes. And the final battle in Latveria, in his castle, on his terms, with his army, is the moment all of that preparation becomes visible. Whether the heroes can do anything meaningful against someone that prepared is the question Avengers Doomsday is going to spend its entire running time building toward. The promotional art suggests they are going to try. The Latveria confirmation suggests they are going to try on the worst first possible ground. And the battle reports suggest that trying is going to cost some of them more than they were prepared to pay. That is not a Marvel film following the formula. That is a Marvel film that finally found a villain worthy of breaking it.